they don't want us to get it, and that's with even with white folks. So I ain't gonna be long winded. I land right there, y'all. Thanks for letting me speak.
For sure, bro. That's some good information. And I'm glad you said that. And let me say something real quick. Being born and raised in LA, we got that Mexican influx before the rest of the country. And for a lot of y'all getting it around the country, this just a quick little warning. When they come in, when they don't have the numbers, they cool as hell. They come talking to you, my friend, hey, my friend, my friend. That's how it is when they 5-10%, they my friend. And then when it gets to 20 and 30%, they okay, they listen to War, and the young ones listen to Tupac. And then, but when they get to be about 50-60% of the population, man, that's when they start. Man, they tattletales at work. If you got a Mexican at your job, don't do shit in front of them. They're gonna tell. They're gonna do whatever they can do. And when the minute they get into a supervisor position, they're gonna flip your black ass up out of it. And next thing you know, that whole department gonna be brown within 7 months. So don't when they come in, when they new to your city, they gonna come to you like, hey, my friend, my Bobby, my friend. Don't fall for that shit. That's just temporary. So that's just a warning. All right, whoever next.
It's my friend Tommy. It's on Tommy.
Hey, what's going on, family? Peace to the room. Shout out to brother Dewan, sister Jess Eve, the rest of the FBA family in here. Great space. I don't know academics. I know Livingston Allen. All right. Livingston Allen is a
Hold on, wait. His first name is Livingston.
yes. This nigga's first name is Livingston.
Yeah,
That's
like
how you know it. That's how you know that nigga is not FBA. That nigga got a last name for his first name.
first name. How do you have a 3-syllable last name for a first name? Oh, we know he ain't shit now, man. Go ahead, my bad.
Yeah. So Livingston. I stopped. First of all, I never supported him, but I knew he was a cornball. I think somebody was talking about a couple minutes ago when our brother Vic Mensa pulled up on him and told him he should slap the shit out of him. This man made a small fortune for himself, exploiting and instigating beefs that were going on in Chicago. That alone should have been enough to show us as a culture that he ain't shit. This nigga don't spin records. He don't know how to DJ. LL Cool J was 100% on code to check this man. But this is what I want to say. LL Cool J should not have had to check him. All of these Lil Durks, all of these Spot 'em Got 'ems, and all of these other young rappers who self-proclaim big steppers. Um, Listen, man. Sometimes our elders should not have to defend the culture. I really feel like this was a point in time where LL Cool J he's hip hop royalty. He shouldn't have to come off his throne to deal with this fucking Nerf football shaped ass peon. So that's the only knock that I got in this situation. Along with Livingston, Lil Durk, and all of these young rappers that's making millions, getting the big fame and talking about how they big steppers. I want to see you niggas step the goddamn Livingston. I want Livingston out of the paint. I ain't saying go out there and you know what I'm saying, off him. Even though my life would not stop an inch if I woke up tomorrow and found out that he was no longer among us. I ain't wishing death on the dude. I'm just saying. I need these young rappers to step the fuck up. LL Cool J and Snoop Dogg and other brothers and sisters that's on code, they shouldn't have to deal with the riffraff like this. Livingston is disrespectful. He shouldn't be in our culture. And we moving to delegitimize him. And I land my plane.
That's real talk, and I wish you never told me his name was Livingston, because yeah, I really can't look at this nigga a certain way. People named Livingston, he sounded like he grew up wearing Mr. Belvedere sweaters at school. Somebody named Livingston, and now he want to go around talking about being a voice for hip hop. That's some bullshit.
That nigga
And
grew up.
penny loafers.
That nigga grew up wearing faded glory and linen suits that was too big for him.
Yeah, he was dressed like, y'all know how the Jamaicans would dress when they would be new to America. They would come in with penny loafers with a Chuck E. Cheese token in them and church socks, and that's how Livingston was dressing when he was in the third grade. Now he a voice for hip hop, but that's a good point, because earlier my point of view really was the elders should But you really just gave me something to think about, because you're right. The royalty should be able to sit back on its throne, and the shooters is the youth. The military is always the youth. The older people are the generals. So you're right. And even Kendrick, and Kendrick's my favorite rapper out right now. But I'm not gonna say, we all heard the last album. It was great, but we all heard some themes in there that have all, if you conscious, if you know how the game works, you kind of like, ooh, that was a buzzword. I think the brother's still on our side, but ooh, I didn't like that. But I'm gonna give him one because he's been consistent. But we need them coming up and speaking, because that's the generation that has the ear of the same people Academics is talking to. So them cats ain't gonna listen to LJ. They already don't respect their elders. We need the generation that's out there now, that's relevant now, to be speaking up on it. And that's why I do want to salute Simba for that flow that he did on what's his name? I'm drawing a blank. You know that nigga that was disrespecting Tupac. I'm drawing a brain for it right now, the DJ. But Simba wrote a whole flow on his show about the whole disrespect to Tupac and how he needs to stop it. So salute to Simba, salute to La Russell, these cats, and but we need the cats to the younger generation to speak out against Academics. I'm talking too much. Whoever next.
If we're gonna go new speakers, it's on Najee.
Hey, how you doing? Yes, you know what, man? None of this kind of like really surprised me, and I don't think at this point we can expect too much from Academics, or we can't even expect too much like the previous speaker was talking about the little Dirks checking them, because the little Dirks and the people the generation of rappers, they feel the same way DJ Academics feels, as far as the founders of hip hop and the whole culture of broke shaming. So I really don't even expect them to check them. And again, like DJ Academics like has a history of this. You know what I'm saying? So I seen him coming years ago, during the time of Trayvon Martin. So I never tuned into him when he was doing like the Chicago commentary. Once in a while I look into it, but I kind of tuned into him during that time. And he was like so anti-Black American. You know what I'm saying? As far as like, he was always on the opposite side of the conversation. You know what I'm saying? So if any police shooting that would happen, from Trayvon Martin to Ferguson, he was an apologist. And he always gave some kind of rationale on how, maybe they caused their own death. Then I took a look on YouTube in his comment section, and it was just filled of just basically anti-Black, racist comments. So that right there was a red flag. Then when he did his commentary about Black Americans and Caribbeans as it relates to education, and he said, let's not, set aside the white people. Let's talk about Black people on his college campus, which was New Brunswick, Rutgers, and how they wasn't serious about education. I live in that area. Now, those white boys that go to them colleges, they drink, they party, and they're not that serious about education themselves. But he went out his way to say, let's put white people aside, but let's just talk about Black Americans as it relates to Africans and Caribbeans not being serious about education. So again, like, I mean, I'm a firm believer of people being consistent. And this man has just constantly been consistent as it relates to the disrespect of the founding fathers of hip hop and just Black culture, period.
Real talk. And with Academics, I say like this: it's not about being surprised or not, because Tiger don't change the stripes. You expect the bullshit from him and Vlad, and you expect it to come. It's just that, like how when we started the space, I was saying one of the biggest things we haven't done as a culture is to really speak up for ourselves. And we've allowed basically people to say whatever they want to say about us unchecked. We really that first generation that's checking everything somebody says. We're developing a culture of checking right now because with this culture of checking, the same way people fall in line with our culture and our music and the way we walk and talk, they'll fall in line with us checking their asses. It ain't gonna be too long. We just got to keep doing it. The only reason why they feel comfortable doing it is because we never checked it. So we got to be on these people. Anybody who has any kind of a platform that has any level of reach and they talking some bullshit, we got to check it. And we have to check it and have that attached with a side of not giving a fuck. As a matter of fact, 3 sides are not giving a fuck. You know what I mean? Because we can't worry about how they're gonna. Of course, they're gonna whine. They're gonna squeal. Some of them may come around and troll. They're gonna say what they're gonna say, but at some point they're gonna fall in line. And you know why they're gonna fall in line? Their culture ain't shit worth nothing to them. That's not me saying it. To them, their culture is nothing worth fighting or nothing worth following. That's why they follow our culture. And that's why they always 20, 30 years behind on our culture. They talking now like we were in 2001. You know what I mean? And so they reject their own culture. So if we develop a culture of checking them if they want to participate, they'll fall in line. We just got to keep doing it. But we got Larry's up in here. This motherfucker finally got up in here. Larry, we over here talking about, and for those of you who don't know Larry Goodwell, back when I first started my podcast, we would do it together. He was sometime on Craig Facts. He just smashed the Houston Improv last night. Funny dude, great comic, and if we ever got in a fight, I'd knock that nigga out. But go ahead, Larry.
Man, well, I tried to listen to what he had to say to LL. I'm sorry. I tried to listen to what he had to say to what LL responded to. I can't stand the sound of that nigga's voice. I don't respect no nigga who look like he can't fight. So I don't really pay attention too much to anything he says. What I do know is that he got his rise to fame reporting on the negative aspects about the culture. With the Chicago videos and shit, that's how he got famous. And then the name he chose is a played out designer label. I can't stand this nigga. And he don't know
what about that label.
Yeah. He don't know what the older generation tried to do with the generation after that because he's a young motherfucker. He wasn't even around when that shit was going on. So that's why I don't respect anything he has to say about hip hop or anything he has to say, period.
Real talk. We got we got Connie up in here. I just saw him. Connie, the floor is yours.
Knock it off. Peace, love, and reparations. Thank you guys for letting me come on stage. I'm real tired, but what you guys were saying about culture, I think we really have to focus on that. Not only do they, not to disparage them, they don't really have, I'm trying to say this tactfully, they don't have a lengthy, forget it. Let me just go to my point.
They don't have something that they feel worth valuing.
Right. But here's another thing. This is so basic, but it's hard for me to say. They're not from our culture, so we have this expectation of them that they're lacking. They don't have that collective group think of Black is beautiful, Black power. They don't have a Black consciousness. They also lack an understanding of our culture. They're on the peripheral, like white people, just observing and imitating and being culture vultures. So they don't have that cultural respect. They come here and they start where they start, just like the way they treat us. They come here and believe we're on equal footing. They lack the cultural nuance, the lived experience to be culturally respectful, if that makes any sense. They lack our culture, and unfortunately, they lack culture. So how can you instill that type of cultural respect? I know I'm saying cultural a lot, but how can you expect somebody to respect your culture when they're really a money minded, money grubbing group of people? This isn't about culture for them. To even say something so asinine, that's like talking about your parents or your grandparents, your elders. So I'm just saying they don't come from our stock, so they can't appreciate the work we put in, and that we would never disparage our elders like that.
That's a good point, and that's why like when you said that, that made me think of just a general principle, a life principle, and it works on an individual level, but it also works on a group level. We all own the power of fiat, meaning we can define the terms of what we feel is valuable. That's what groups do. And the group that understands that power, the group and uses it to name other people, is the group that holds the power. So when it comes to power dynamics and when it comes to using that, we have to set the terms. No one, people respect whatever boundary you set. Of course, we're not going to account for the few crazies out there. That's the exception. In general, people respect groups to the level those groups allow you to respect them. And I'm not blaming us, but 400 years of trauma will make you get a low self-worth yourself and allow others to do these things to you. And that's something that we've allowed others to do. And that's a condition of 400 years of what we've gone through. It's nothing to argue about or cry over. It's just understanding that we're the generation that said no more. And and part of, you know, when desegregation came, you know, yes, it was desegregated, but I remember my grandmother telling me the stories when she owned a hamburger stand on 67th and Main Street in South Central LA. The minute desegregation came, black folks would go right past your hamburger stand and go buy one from the white people that was more expensive and less quality, because we had something in our mind at that time that white ice was colder. We are the generation that's saying, no, 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 I like my ice. As a matter of fact, you can't touch it. And so us having a consistent change of this tone is going to change how they show us. You're right. I agree with 100% of what Connie said. These are people that are coming here, and they come here to get money. They don't give a damn about culture. They don't respect culture. But the reason why they don't try this crap with the Jews is because the Jews won't let them. Not because the Jews anything great, is because the Jews won't let them. They have a defined barrier and four wall to their culture. And same thing with white America. White America won't let them. They say something. They know what happened if they say something to white America. When it comes to black America, we have that power. We have the power because no, we have something. I don't ever want to say we have something better than money, because we're going for our reparations. We need the fucking money, but we have something that money can't buy, and that's a culture that everyone else needs like crack. I don't care if it's hip hop. I don't care if it's Black American disco, Black American EDM, Black American funk, jazz, blues, whatever we put out to the world. What we've seen over the last 100 years, 150 years is the minute they come around, our shit is crack. I was at the Hollywood Bowl last night, and there was this Cuban band on that was Cuban funk. And I read the Hollywood Bowl presser about them, and it said, this guy is the Cuban version of George Clinton. Because, and when I went to hear, and as I'm listening to them perform, they're basically doing James Brown. Like, and this is the hottest sound in Cuba. The hottest sound in Cuba is a sped up version of James Brown. I'm not going to disparage the band because they were really good, but they were basically singing Spanish. I don't know that laka shit they were saying, but they were saying laka James Brown. It was just James Brown in Spanish at 40 BPMs faster. But it just goes to show. I'm like, man, our culture is so dope. Stuff that we stopped doing 50 years ago is the hottest thing going on in Cuba. They said, damn, all that Cuban music that we've had. And Cuba has the best music culture in the Caribbean. They by far have the best music culture in the Caribbean. And a very deep one. Celia Cruz, I love her. But they're saying, you know what? They kids like, you know what? We want that Black American shit. So that's like crack to them. And so with that culture that we have, as long as we continue to develop this and forward this culture and set this narrative and make, as long as we set it, they're going to bend to it. We just have to continue to do it because that's just life. That's just how power dynamics work. That's just how life works. They respect the level you put out there for respect. I don't know who else. Who's next, Eve?
It's on, I got it. It's on Exo Sankofa.
Peace to the room. Peace and much respect to you, brother Dwan B. Brother, I subscribe to you because I'm an R&B head, and I love what you do for Black music, and I love that you introduced me to Dr. Short. First off, to the co-host, Just Steve, sis, you already know what time it is. Yeah, much respect to you too, and your babies who on cold. But to my to the whole thing about DJ Akademiks, man, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, because I'm an R&B head. That brother would have never came on my radar until he started getting real off cold, until that Fresh and Fit situation popped up, and then I started seeing who he was. Then Tariq went on there and he started backpedaling and doing all kinds of. I just saw he was an altogether clown. You know what I'm saying? Point blank. And I'm glad LL did what he did, because I didn't even know about the DJ Akademiks situation. I was just in another space where I was like calling him out and didn't even know he was just cutting up. You know what I'm saying? Like in real time. So I'm glad you calling this space out. Yeah, for real though. I'm glad you doing this space, bro. And I'm glad you calling this shit out. And I'm glad, like, let's cook his ass and roast his ass to rotisserie perfection. I come from the savage side of the tracks. Okay, so I'm ready for this, brother Dwan.
Yeah, I'm with that, man. He already looks like a Cornish hen, so let's go ahead and rotisserie.
Well, y'all done already called it about Livingston. Are you fucking for real? Okay, let's get it.
Not called him. That's his name. We didn't make it up.
Hey, I'm gonna get to the next person. Hey, but Larry, I gotta get your response. Somebody said his real name is Livingston, dog. Can you trust a nigga named Livingston?
What's your rule about people who have last names as first names?
The only one you can trust is Rick James. That's it.
Only one. The rest of them niggas is untrustworthy and trash.
Like people named Livingston, they wear one red chuck, one green chuck. I can't trust them kind of cats. But who was next?
Not one red chuck and one green chuck. I'm dead. That the average Black.
I think it was on CJ Willis just before me.
Yeah, I had him down too. So yeah, CJ, if you want to go too, between the two of y'all came back up at the same time with the hands.
My phone had died, so I had to plug in. But average Black can go first since I already spoke.
Y'all are so polite tonight.
You nice ass niggas. Somebody go, you nice, polite, gentlemanly ass brothers. Somebody go. Shit.
Much appreciated.
Livingston brought it out in them.
That's funny. Yeah, no, I appreciate you, Dewan B. and Just Eve. Yeah, Dewan B. I'm also from Southern California, man. I like what you said about what happened after segregation. I've had my family's been here for damn near 100 years now, since the 40s. So
you like me. So yeah, we one of the few. My family been here since the 30s.
See, yeah, that old Black California. And tell you some stories, man. And you know what you said about the Mexicans is very true. When they was on a different energy in the 80s, man. They was on some cool vibey shit, invite you over for tacos and shit. You know, be all up in your neighborhood, just as nice and kind. And in the 90s, they got their ass on their shoulders, like a lot of immigrants. And it's crazy because, you know, we're so inviting and so kind to everybody, and we have the same energy with everybody. We just base it on how you treat us. But I hope that Black people are paying attention, because, you know, there's people who look like us who are not us, and they try to operate as us, and they give out fucking cookout passes. And I'm like, motherfucker, you gonna be cooking curry goat and oxtails and shit on the grill, and you giving all these fucking passes to people who don't fuck with us. If you looking closely, they don't look closer. They trust every white person smiling and waving and shit. So it's like we gotta stop giving out passes to everybody black, because people be off code so fucking much and allow all types of fuckery to just happen with other outsiders, because we be thinking that, oh, that's us. No, that's not us. Look at this motherfucker's hairline. Look at his face. Look at DJ Akademiks. Motherfucker look like Jerry the Mouse. You know what I'm saying? Of Tom and Jerry. So this motherfucker, he a weird looking motherfucker who's probably insecure, and they hate on us. They hate our culture, but will say that we ain't got no culture. Meanwhile, like you were bringing up, a lot of their cultures are based on our culture. Fats Domino's based almost single-handedly created what was that, ska music? You know what I'm saying? And then when we go into Bob Marley, he talks about the influence of Black American music on what he does. So it's like we're not talking no big shit about nothing. We sitting here quiet saying, hey man, I'll go to the Jamaican spot, order some cocoa bread and all of that shit and listen to their music, not even telling all the Jamaicans with our fucking nose up in the air, it's our shit that created your shit. But them, one motherfucker make one party and mix some records, and now you the whole fucking founder. It's like, just because you got Denny's and a Black American was cooking fried chicken in that motherfucker, don't mean that you created soul food. All right. And it's crazy that so many people try to do this very sloppy reach and stretch of trying to make themselves relevant on our shoulders, meanwhile giving us their ass to kiss. So we do have to be gatekeepers, and we have to stick to everything that we brought and made popular, including cancel culture and being woke, because they are afraid of cancel culture. They are afraid of words like woke. Well, I ain't going back to sleep no more, and everybody who do stupid shit got to be canceled in order to understand it. And once we start kicking motherfuckers out, and it's not as profitable to the rest of the world, we can once again have ownership, because we can stick to the organic nature of the things that we create, and it stays better. And when you look back at the past of people who had more fanfare and more money, like let's say Elvis versus James Brown in the 60s, back then, black people would argue, I think Elvis is better than James Brown. Well, now today we know that Elvis ain't a sprig of parsley next to the main course that is James Brown. So, over time, the truth will come out, and we have to make sure that we gatekeep everything and kick all outsiders out who are off code. And if you a fucking tourist, then you got to get your visa checked every fucking day. And every time you do something stupid, you get kicked the fuck out. And I land my plane.
That's real talk right there, man. We got to really check everybody's paperwork when it comes down to it, because at the end of the day, everybody, just because they party with you, don't mean they're your friend. You know what I mean? That's the thing people think is going on. They think because, and another thing we got to do is, any black person, and I haven't seen too many black people doing this lately, but any black person invites anybody non-black to the cookout, we need to check that nigga. Like, no, we it ain't no. We getting on your ass for even offering this pass to somebody coming to the cookout. You know what I mean? Because, and I think overall we're doing a really good job of that. We're doing better. We're getting better. I don't like to be stuck on what we're not doing, because all I see is seems like every year we're getting more efficient and we're tightening the screws, and we're really getting back in line culturally, mentally, and we really are waking up. Like you said, we're not going back to sleep. So that's why I call my show Hotep-ish. Like I named it that because it's like, okay, y'all want to call everybody that's into Black consciousness Hoteps? All right, cool. I trademarked the name. You can go look it up. DeJuan Brown owns it. And I trademarked Hotep-ish because it's like, y'all ain't gonna take that. I'm a Hotep if that's what you want to call me. Yep. But I'm ish because I still eat pork and I talk shit. So, but that's my shit, because you're not gonna take. I trademarked that because you're not gonna you're not gonna turn this into something bad. I'm gonna embrace that, because matter of fact, people who call black people who are into our history Hoteps, you niggas are corny anyway. So I don't even give a fuck if you like me. Oh, you don't like me? That's fine with me. Look at you. You know what I mean? So whatever.
DeJuan,
Go ahead.
let's talk about the cookout passes real quick, because if we're talking about reciprocal energy, every time I go to the Jamaican spot and I want to get me a veggie patty because I don't eat beef patties anymore, the service is horrible. And but you're gonna be out here handing out passes. Like, make it make sense. Can somebody make it make sense?
You're right. They give out horrible. They give out horrible service. You'll see Negroes go have 5 interactions uh, in their whole lifetime with white people. You ain't even been around no white folks. And then the minute you have one good interaction, oh, white folks is this, white folks is that. Cats be having one white coworker, and they talk about how good white people are. I'll be like, nigga, that's your coworker. I guarantee to you, they ain't ever invited you over their house for Thanksgiving. Y'all talk between the hours of 9 and 6, and you think you know something. But again, we getting better as a people. This comes down to just a lack of self-pride. But I'm gonna skip the line because I see Jay came up in here and raised her hand. I know I asked you to speak earlier, so I'm definitely gonna put you in the front of the line. I want to hear what you have to say.
Yes, thank you, Brother Dewan B. My sister, Just Eve. Oh my gosh, everybody, Sister Nordos, everybody. Listen, you reminded us that your podcast is Hotep-ish, so I had to bring it back to the cards. Oh, great, Negro Damas master teacher that you are, Dewan B. What is the birth card of DJ Akademiks? Do we know? Do we know his birthday? You're muted, brother.
Shit, I'm muted over here. Now I don't know his someone just booked the book session with me. Thank you. DJ Akademiks. Let me look at his birthday real quick.
It's May 17th, 1991, and I'm very mad because
All right.
May 16th.
Thank you. You said May 17th. So
Yeah,
that is
man,
my brother Dewan, that is a 2 of diamond, 8 of clubs. So let me just give a disclaimer. You already know I'm the 8 of clubs. That's my birth card. And I'm the 10 of hearts planetary ruler. But what's his name? Livingston what?
Livingston. Yeah.
Livingston is a 2 of diamond, 8 of clubs. I'm gonna land my plane there and ask you to give your analysis on this personality type. I have an idea about that 2 of diamonds. These people are codependent. The diamond suits represents like values and money, especially, right? So he strikes me as someone who is dependent upon other people in order to get the bag, or in order to determine who he is and what his values are. So that could also explain how he switches up depending on who he's interviewing at the time. But I am a baby. I'm a newborn in this science. I'm going to turn it over to our host, Brother Dewan B.
Oh, yeah, he's the 2 of diamonds. That means those are people who are very codependent. They really can't do things by themselves. So they're dependent upon deals, and they'll do anything they can for the deal. 2 of diamonds represents balance or imbalance, perfect balance or perfect imbalance. So yeah, he's kind of falling in line with his. He has a jack of clubs in his Mercury. Mercury is how you communicate. And anytime you see a jack of clubs is basically the card of that'll say anything. That's the card of the lawyer. They'll say anything that they want, that they need to say to get whatever deal that they want to get done. So anytime I look at the way a person communicates, I look at the card of their Mercury. For people who aren't into this, Jay, thank you for that. But I generally don't talk about my cardology on Twitter too much. That's a whole nother discipline that if people ain't into it, it spooks them the fuck out. But yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. But yeah, he has a jack of spades in his Mercury. That means he communicates like a jackass. Most preachers are a jack of spades or they're either gonna be a jack of spades or a jack of clubs.
Tricksters and deceit on the low side, but on the high side could access higher spiritual principles and transformation. But yeah, thank you for that. I land my plane. Didn't mean to bring this up on this on Twitter, but y'all.
No, I'm glad you did though, because honestly, I do need to talk about it more. Like I'm gonna do I'm gonna be on YouTube twice tomorrow. I'm gonna interview Randy Short about the Stud King. We're gonna talk tomorrow at 12 o'clock, and then I'm gonna do another Twitter space on since everybody talking about Nia Long and Coach Ime Udoka. I'm gonna do a reading on their relationship because they have a nine of diamonds relationship, which is one of the worst cards you can get for them.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, thank you for that. But to reset the room, we back to talking about this sorry ass DJ Akademiks calling black creators of hip hop dusty. And our band Ruben Warren made a great point earlier when he was talking about hip hop was Jamaican. He never had anything to say about black hip hop creators and people up front. But now that it's pretty much science settled, he knows hip hop is black since Tariq went on his radio show. Now all of a sudden the creators are dusty and broke, and he got mad disrespectful. LL Cool J checked him. We had a great commenter earlier that said that, you know, he shouldn't have to check him. The young guns should get at him. And then we also, you know, and so we've had a great discussion so far as far as like checking cats like Akademiks, checking what they do, putting them in their place. So we're here to hear what y'all got to say about this. So with that being said, I pass the room over to Eve, to whoever is next.
Much
Yeah,
respect. Thank you. I
yeah.
think it's gonna go on Heat though, if Heat
Yeah,
wants to maybe
I just
let me
wanted to
tell him.
add. Yeah, I just wanted to add. I'm sorry about that. I just wanted to add the fact that like Tariq Nasheed said, if we look at the landfill right now, it's more tethers and people from the Caribbean or Hispanic dominance that's the artist right now. So we've been infiltrated heavily. You know what I'm saying?
Preach.
Yeah, we've been infiltrated real heavily. So they trying to change the playing field. And that's why we have to support most of our FBA brothers who have these podcasts and these spaces where they could get subscriptions to where, we can even the playing field and really get some checking, because we have, like I said, we have to gatekeep and make sure that we keep these people in check at all times. We're at a part, we're the, like I said, that we're infiltrated right now. So our back is against the wall, and we got to make sure that no disrespect from this point is tolerated. They see I honestly think he apologized because he started to see the trend on Instagram and Twitter, like we start coming for him, and he seen no sales in that Scorpion King movie. So he sees the power that we do have, and once the wheels get turning, and once we like a pit bull, once we leech on to something, we don't let go. You know what I'm saying? That's just the power and the soul in us. So I mean, he's skating on thin ice. And one thing I could say about those artists as well, the younger generation, somebody said that they feel the same way, and they do have a selfish standpoint, because at this point they want to be friends with him. They want to be able to get on his platform, and they want to be able to boost their sales and have him promote on his platforms. That's the main, like the most dangerous thing we did, was able to elevate him to these platforms that he can kind of gatekeep what's hot and what's not. And that's a dangerous hazard for a person like that to be in that position. We have to do something about that. That's the same with him and Vlad, those two peas in the pod. So we got to try and gatekeep and get this right.
That's real talk right there, because you hit on a couple major points right there. It's, they have infiltrated. If you notice, it happened slowly. It really happened all throughout the 20 teens. Just very slowly, real slowly. They just artist by artist, they were coming in, but we didn't know that these people were from other places. We didn't know XXXTentacion was from somewhere else until unfortunately how he met his demise. That's when we found out. You know what I mean? It happened real slowly. And at the same time, we have to continue to gatekeep our culture and say, and we're doing the right thing by these Twitter spaces. And because let me tell y'all something, I'm around these podcasters, like my early days in all these people who are on a lot right now, like a lot of your big time YouTubers and podcasters. Like a lot of us started around the same time here in LA, doing stand up in the early 2010s. Larry was there, and we're around these guys all the time, and not just them. And through them, we're around all these guys. They're very sensitive to what people are saying. They're very sensitive to what's trending about them, because especially if they have deals. Like one of my podcasts that I do, we have a deal with the caffeine app, and they're looking at even now. I'm pretty sure there's somebody from the app listening to me right now. You know what I mean? They're very conscious of what's being said. They're very conscious of the analytics and the trends. They got analytics and stuff that you ain't never heard of or dreamed of. So when Black people talk, when we have these Twitter discussions, when we have tweets, you think your tweets don't mean anything? These people that are in control of Akademiks' budget and everyone, they understand what this means. So this is some real stuff. This matters, and don't let anyone ever tell you that it doesn't. We ain't just talking into the wind. He had to come out and apologize. Since when we've been seeing a trend of people coming out and apologizing to Black people really over this last year, something that we ain't never seen before. because they are sensitive to what's being said. And if we shut up, they're going to keep doing it. We keep having these type of discussions. We keep spreading around the word around through the grapevine that we have. They're going to have to respect them because they're very hypersensitive to what people say. Eve, you get to whoever's next.
Let's go to the new speaker. It's going to be Elisa.
Yes, this is my first time ever speaking. Do you hear me?
Yes, we hear
we can hear you just fine.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something I had heard that Dwayne, a month ago, I learned he had this shirt that had the tree with the roots. And I say, a tree by its roots. And we have the tree with the lowest hanging roots. I mean, with the lowest hanging fruit. And it's so low and so heavy and full of fruit after all these centuries here in this country that people don't even have to lift their hands up to pick it. And we have never had a fort around that tree. Now is that time. And I'm so happy to have found you now. I'm nervous because I don't speak a lot. I'm kind of shy. But I'm only seeing that tree now, that tree. And we are that tree, loaded with fruit, so heavy that the branches are hanging so low that anybody who comes in, they don't even have to lift their hands up to pick up that fruit. It's nearly on the ground. But now we've got people standing around guarding that fruit. It's ours. And thank you so much for letting me speak. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was a dope way of putting it. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's my Black American Music Family Tree. Y'all can get it at incenseandashtrays.com. Yeah, I appreciate that because that's really what I wanted to that's really what I was trying to speak in the creation of that tree. That, the roots of hip hop ain't 1974 at some musty ass party. The roots of hip hop go back to the 1600s here on this land. And I appreciate anybody who's purchased it, or even if you just shared it on your page, like Quan or somebody, if y'all can post it in the Jumbotron. Yeah, because we Black people aren't stupid. We just don't know, man. Our biggest thing is we just been misinformed. But I'll tell you one thing about us: we haven't been broken. You know what I mean? Overall, we haven't been broken. We still have a certain cultural pride to where we don't look outside of our culture for anything. Yes, people can say what they want about people's hairstyles. That of course, we're in a sick society. We're gonna have certain things about us, but overall, we don't look to other people to learn how to dance. We don't look to other people to see how they walk. We don't look and see how other people talk. We just do our own thing. And us doing our own thing is a multi-trillion-dollar industry because it ain't just hip hop. It's K-pop, it's jazz, it's blues, it's disco, it's every form of popular music across the planet. Like I always say, K-pop is just R&B with soy sauce fried up in the wok. It's our shit. And we're so culturally rich, but we've been trained because we've been under such an oppressive system to look down and not recognize our culture. All it takes is for us to recognize it. And through us recognizing it, the rest of these motherfuckers gonna recognize too. Whoever next.
We got another new speaker. But I mean, okay, yes, people have been patient. CJ, you can go. That's cool. Your phone's charged now.
All right. Yeah. I just wanted to there was another point I wanted to make earlier, and I was kind of building on what you were talking about, alluding to in the beginning, Dewan, about the pioneers not making the money from their creativity. And I would say to academics that the same thing can be said of the pioneers of reggae, right? Because the people who make the most money are the people who own the labels. And the biggest labels in reggae music are what? Island Records, which was owned by and founded by Chris Blackwell, who's a white man, and VP Records, which is owned by some Asians, right? So I mean, the same thing can be said of Jamaican music. And just like Ruben was saying, he wouldn't dare say that about reggae artists, but he's the type of piece of shit that would say that about us. So I mean, even if you think of ska music, right? So if you ask the average person like about ska music, they wouldn't even say a Jamaican artist. They probably say a band like No Doubt. They wouldn't bring up like a Laurel Aiken or Byron Lee and the Dragonaires, right? So I mean, the way he said, I mean, is just it's disrespectful, and it's I mean, it's just ridiculous to the way the way he put it. And I just like other people were saying, we really need to check this dude. We need to get him out the paint. We need to cut him off. These artists, we need to stop. Basically, we need to stop indulging this dude. We need the artists who are out now to stop going to his platform, him and Vlad, because if we don't, we're never gonna get this thing back. And I land on that.
That's a good point. Who's next?
Well, if we could go to the new speaker, that would be Mr. Ali, and then maybe Rose City.
Hey, peace, y'all. Peace. This Ali from Be the Power. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm just listening in. Appreciate everything that you guys have been saying, and I agree 100% with the family. You know, people like Academics needs to be put in check. I listened to what LL said earlier, in terms of his response to what Academics had to say. And he 100% right and exact. You know, all you guys are right on point with what you're saying. And I think that we're at a great place where the fact that people don't really appreciate who we are and what we mean to this country, to the rest of the world, in terms of leadership, in terms of influence, and how we've influenced not just this in this country, but around the world, culture everywhere. I think that we're at a great place where people are beginning to recognize that and doing what is necessary to protect and to preserve the integrity of our culture and our rich history here and our contributions to this world. So I think what you're doing is great. Like I said, I'm just listening in and just vibing with the fan.
It's real talk, man. I think we have Marcel. You next.
I think Hunter was next, actually.
I don't see Hunter.
Actually, it's not Hunter either. It's going to be Rose City. And then if Marcel is waiting his turn, it's going to go to Exo Sankofa, then to Marcel.
Okay, yeah. Evie, help me out because I can't even see those names you just said. So it must be something going on. I don't even see those other names you just said. So, yeah, you got this.
All right, I'm going to make it real quick, people. Y'all can hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
All right. Good evening and all of that good stuff. I'm coming in a little late, and I saw that BS Academic was saying, and I know he on his music, he on the top of his game. So I'm gonna ask a question because I'm an old head. I like old school music and I like R&B. When the hell did Academics and Vlad become fucking DJs? And what parties did they rock? And who did they produce as far as fucking music?
You asked. That's a question. I can see you got here a little late, brother, because that's what I was open the show trying to figure out. Like I said earlier, like I don't know what DJ he ever has been. Like I don't like. I mean, has he ever? He couldn't DJ youth the youth shut in at church on Friday nights. The Friday night youth shut in. He couldn't DJ. He can have Kurt Frank. What is he DJing?
That's what I've been trying to figure out. This when the hell he threw a party? Whoever said they went to a Vlad party, he rocked that bitch. Whoever said they went to a Academic party and said he rocked that bitch. And Khaled, he's a goddamn thief. He ain't never made everything he do. He bring other people in. Shit, Master P will be a better DJ than them son bitches. So I don't know where they get these cats from, man. They coming in here, and that's just blatant disrespect. What he said when he said that our old school hip hop artists, they dusty. Nigga, have you ever seen a Jamaican that ain't dusty in reggae? I've never seen a clean Jamaican. Shaba was the only one. Hell, even Patrick wasn't clean. That heifer was dusty and dirty back then. So my thing is, what the fuck is Academic talking about, man? This dude, he's a culture vulture, just like Vlad's a culture vulture, just like what's that other dude Tariq did the interview with, and the no jumper dude. And he looks sweeter than goddamn Kool-Aid in the South. So I don't know where they getting these cats from. They need to get the fuck out of here. And on the cool, I mean, I've been in the game for a while. I remember back when my man would play Jam On It at the party and we get it in. That's how you get a party started, with Jam On It or Planet Rock or The Message. This shit they talking about, Fat Joe fluffy ass talking this shit about he been in the game. The Puerto Ricans been in the game. I ain't never heard nobody turn up one of them Puerto Rican rappers and let's get this bitch crunk. Nobody. Porn is the closest one. That's it. On the cool, man, these dudes real out of pocket, and we need to start checking these motherfuckers a lot more than what we doing. I've been checking their ass for years. So it's a lot of people I got bad blood with, because they don't come around me when I say something about them. Fuck them. What they gonna do? I ain't no big dude. I ain't no tall dude, but I ain't gonna back down from it. So, I mean, on the cool, man, fuck them people, man. They ain't worth a damn. Academic already, I've been put Vlad out there. When he said that shit against the minister, it was over with for him. It was over with for him. So the rest of these cats, Vlad, Academic, man, I ain't even know who the hell he was. I thought he was some damn clothes makers or some shit. Some Academic jeans or whatever that shit is. That's who I thought he was. But yeah, you know, hey, I'm out of here, man. Marcel, go ahead and get your thing in, homie. We'll holler at y'all. Appreciate it, Dewan. You let me speak, man. I appreciate y'all.
Man, you a fool, man. Yeah, you're right about that, man. We are done with these people. They are no good for us. Academics, he's done. I don't like him. I don't like this. This is what happens when, when we made the mistake of allowing everybody in, and we changing it up right now. We seeing for what it is. So I think we're on the right path. But yeah, you said some dope shit, Bro City. Go ahead, whoever's next.
He said he ain't never seen a clean Jamaican and up and dying for about 5 minutes.
You're right about that. Steven Seagal's Mark for Death just came on Cinemax last week. I like them old ass Steven Seagal movies. I like watching them break niggas' elbows and shit. So I was
Boy, that dude was dirty as shit in that movie, wasn't it?
That movie, my TV was musty when that movie was done.
Oh.
They sitting there like, you want Screwface?
You want Screwface, man? You want Screwface, man? Come on, come get Screwface. Them niggas. Oh man.
Like jerk chicken breath.
I'm crying. I'm literally crying over here. Exo Senko, for then it's on Marcel. I know Marcel's about to cook.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for letting me go, because I know Marcel about to cook. So I wanted to point something out though, bro, because this shit is dangerous. What DJ Akademiks is doing, even though he's a bitch made fake DJ who backpedals on his shit, he's still a part of this whole movement to just spread FBA culture around and erase FBA culture. Now I'm gonna tell y'all a story, because with me being an R&B head, not just R&B, but like, jazz, whatever, you know what I'm saying? When you sing, whatever. And I like rap on the side, you feel me? But I remember somebody sending me a video back in 2012, right? And it was these Koreans having a praise break. And if you don't come up in the gospel traditions and if you ain't grew up in the church, you might not know what a praise break is, but I can't describe it. Just go on YouTube and look it up. And they was straight bucking on that shit, bro. I'm from the deep South. And if I see a real praise break, I was like, it was a real praise break. And I had to say to myself, they studying us. They studying us just like they study everything. Martial arts, just like they study everything. Math. They study us. And fast forward 10 years later, the president is inviting a K-pop group who basically does Korean black music, Korean blackface, to the White House. And this is right after a FBA massacre. That's why this shit is dangerous, because culture and politics go hand in hand. I was just in a Lyft the other day on my way to a pull-up, and the driver, he had this trap music playing, and I know it's trap music because I'm from the deep south. I know trap music when I hear it, but it was in Spanish. I asked him, I said, what y'all call that? I said, what you call that in your language? This motherfucker said, el trap. They don't even have an original word for it. They are taking our shit and using it for their own and profiting and spreading it around, and it's leaking into the politics. And that's my point. I'll land my plane because I know Brother Marcel finna cook after that. I said, let's roast this
Yeah.
motherfucker. DJ Akademiks is a part of that shit.
Yeah, you're right about that, man. It's just, we are the culture. That's when it comes. I was at the Hollywood Bowl last night, and it was just black music. The new Cuban sound is 70s funk. That's the hottest sound in Cuba right now. And so what different parts of the world in Korea and Japan, the hottest sound is 90s R&B. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna let Marcel cook. My father-in-law used to tell me about that. I remember when he was offered a deal to go to Japan. They were offering him into the six figures a month. He didn't go, but because he's one of the greatest arranger composers in music history, they were offering deals in the six figures a month to take arrangers and composers from the 70s and teach in Japan. That's how real it is. Go ahead, Marcel.
Hey, I actually don't have much to say. I just want to say, first of all, like I think Rose City said, I ain't never heard of no damn DJ Akademiks before I got on social media and stuff like that either. I literally thought it was the clothing as well. I thought he was like the designer of the academic clothes. I ain't never heard of this guy. Never.
But Marcel, did you hear of a Livingston?
A Livingston?
I did it on purpose. I'm sorry, y'all. I that was totally on purpose. One.
No. But I want to say the disrespect is probably going to continue because Fat Joe is supposed to be hosting the BET Awards. What is that, tomorrow or something? And I just know that these off-cold coons and shambles are going to sit there and let him try to push that whole hip-hop was 50-50 lie again when it is no damn 50-50. Yes, 50-50, 50 plus 50 Black American freedmen culture. We both of those damn 50s. But now because this has happened, if he tries to do that, there's a chance that one of the cool artists might really clap back at him because this thing has probably woken something up that was asleep. So I just want to say that, and this is a perfect time, I think, for us to put boycott BET, because why the hell you got Fat Joe hosting our show? It's like they're trying to troll us. Just yesterday, or 2 days ago now, actually, they put a video up talking about, hey, Latinos have always been contributing to the culture, and the backlash was fierce and furious from those of us on code. They took the video down. So this is a perfect time to do boycott BET, which I'm going to do, and I've been doing it because
I think we lost Marcel.
We did.
Hashtag cancel DJ Akademiks.
Yeah.
Hashtag cancel DJ Akademiks.
Yeah, they pay really close attention to it. I was just driving through downtown LA a couple hours ago, and I saw those BET Hip Hop Awards are going to be out here, and I know I'm gonna go to a few of those parties. And it's just one of those things where you see it when you're around in the environment. A lot of people see these rappers and these entertainers as these people who, most of these dudes are just real shy, regular ass, weird ass dudes. Just honestly, most of these dudes are just regular ass, weird ass dudes. Like random, they can't hold a good conversation, and those be the ones that these people sign. Those are the ones who get the deals. Those are the ones who get the puppets, and it's the reason why they do it that way. Like when we talk about black music sucking and not being good anymore, well, it's because the level of artists that they give deals to is a lot lower than it used to be. You're giving the deals to the imitators, not the creators, not the real ones. And they know who to sign and who not to. Larry, I see you got your hand up.
Man, man, hey, I don't Brock City. What's that dude name? Dewan, I was over here crying at dog.
Yeah, right.
How the fuck do you follow that dog? I feel like I'm following Chappelle. But now I would say I'm gonna blame the old heads with one thing. You know how that whole mafia shit started? Everybody was naming themselves after Italian gangsters and all that shit. And then that whole mob culture started in hip hop. Everybody had a crew and they had a leader and all that shit, all that stupid ass shit. One thing I really wish they'd have paid attention to the mafia was closing the fucking ranks. Like they would close the ranks. We ain't making nobody. We got to straighten some shit out. Nobody's getting made. And if you get made, you have to be Sicilian. You have to be from Italian. You have to be able to trace your family lineage back to the mother, back to that. So I wish they'd have taught us to close the ranks on these motherfuckers, because we wouldn't be having this conversation about Akademiks or Vlad or any one of these non-FBA cocksuckers. We would have closed the ranks on all of them. And I land my shit.
Don't forget about
Harry.
Poetic Flacco on No Jumper. Watch him. He also hates black women. If you pay attention to what he says, watch him.
And it's funny, like you're right. We got to close ranks, and you're right. It's funny, Larry. I was talking to Slink about that just recently, because Slink used to go by Slink Capone. I just saw Slink a couple hours ago, and he was talking about. It's funny. Slink said something very interesting when I was sort of clowning him for going by Slink Capone back in the '90s, and he was like, that's what niggas did when niggas didn't know any better, And when Slink said, like, I couldn't even have any more jokes after that. You know what I mean? He was like, that's what we did. We didn't know any better. And he's like, now the cats see what we could have did, and we dropped the ball. You know what I mean? And
it's because we have our own underbelly. We have our own underbelly. We have our own criminals. So why not name yourself after an FBA criminal than an Italian criminal?
And we'll talk. And Larry, that sound you hear is because my man just dropped off 6 zips. But who's next?
Well, did you have your hand up, the average black?
No, that's Hunter. I think it's on him.
Hunter, you can go, or Rose City. Between
No, I just wanted you to repeat. I just wanted you to repeat the name of the person you said earlier, Just Steve, so I can look them up, and the rest of the family can watch them. You said watch them. I mean, let's watch them.
Are we talking about Livingston?
Let's cancel DJ Akademiks. Let's get down to business.
We want to cancel Livingston Allen. Is that who we're talking about?
Well, no, you said somebody else.
We have one uniform hashtag, so it goes viral. Hashtag cancel DJ Akademiks.
I wasn't talking about a hashtag, Connie. I was asking him what he's asking me. Who did I say watch?
Oh,
you mentioned somebody else other than DJ Akademiks.
Connie mentioned him. It's another guy, Connie.
Oh, that was Connie. Okay, I couldn't reckon. I Twitter be messing with me. I can't see who's speaking, so I just hear voices.
Poetic Flacco, Poetik. Flacco, Flakko. He's an African dude. The dude that Tyreek just interviewed with the other day on No Jumper, he's the one that got slapped in the mouth by an FBA artist. You got to see that episode. Slap the shit out of him for being disrespectful. You got to see it. But anyway, watch him. He's worse than DJ Akademiks. And he's a fan. He can't hide it, but he's a culture vulture.
Okay, yeah, let's get down to business. I put that hashtag in the Jumbotron too, just that cancel DJ Akademiks shit, because he should have been canceled. Like, I've been canceled his ass personally. There's a lot of people on my list. Vlad, people mentioning them. Let's make a list. Like, bro, I'm getting ready to make a fucking list, and we need to come with all the receipts as a family. Let's circle the fucking wagons. I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of them gaslighting us. I'm tired of this bullshit. I'm tired of these fucking coons going on their platforms, acting like they don't know what the fuck is up. We done with it. Dwan, I know you're a comedian, bro. You keep us laughing, but I ain't a motherfucking comedian. I'm on this bitch to cook. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, go ahead and do y'all thing. I'm gonna go back on mute, but I'm gonna make a list. And I swear I'm gonna come back with that shit. And I do what I say I'm gonna do. I keep my word.
Add Fresh and Fit to the list. That dude is, I forgot his name.
They been on it. Shit. They been on the
but he
motherfucking
was,
list.
what was he, a former FBI agent?
Ain't no telling what all they is.
No,
Homeland,
this is a fact.
Homeland Security.
Yeah, that
Fake
dude,
FBA.
Marvin Weeks. His name was something.
Amar Foodle.
Right,
Amar Foodle, yeah.
right. Look at
I'm
who
sorry. If
they're
anybody's
I think
listening
it's
to Fat
Amaru
Spunky, y'all are just wrong.
Foodle.
Y'all are just all the way wrong.
It's Amaru Foodle. AMROU. Yeah. Feudal. FUDL or some shit like that. It's Amaru.
And he changed his name to Melvin or Marvin Weeks to pretend he's FBA and talk shit about us.
Because it's two English words. We're so gullible. What the hell is
Stop
that?
it.
We know he's not one of us because he looks like Fievel. So it's no way in hell he could be one of us.
Not Fievel. You mean the mouse?
Yeah, he looks like Fievel.
He looks more like a ferret than a.
So, but yeah, I know we got some new speakers up in here. Eve, you know who's next.
We did have new speakers. They are having iPhone 1 issues, I think, maybe. It might be on Rose City.
Go ahead, Rose City.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real quick because I just got off work, so I gotta get in the shower. But check this out. Everybody that's in Atlanta, because I think that's where they having those BET awards. Man, y'all ought to be outside protesting the hell out their asses. Because them some bitches gonna show up, and we already know they're gonna show up. They're gonna try to show out. And like Tariq them was saying, they finna try to push that Puerto Rican shit on us like they did with the Soul Train Awards with J-Ho doing all the damn Motown song. That bitch, oh Lord, man. Y'all remember what Jamie Foxx called her. So I ain't gonna even have to go into that with that. And then Fat Low, he gonna be in Atlanta. Man, the ATL ought to be on his ass. I'm talking about that because it's some Mexicans in Atlanta, but it ain't that many because I used to live there. It ain't that many for them to get caught back at them. Man, all of the SWATs, all of the damn College Park, all that over in that area, they ought to be at Atlanta just standing out there waiting for them fools to show up. Because you got everybody up there claiming to be trap boys. You know what I'm saying? If you a trap boy, hey, show your ass. You heard me? Hell, they can even bring Black Tony ass out there. If he that damn G. Y'all know who Black Tony is because y'all done heard Ricky Smiley once or twice. But you feel what I'm saying, man? They got the ATL. They going to throw the show in Atlanta where the black rappers are, where he could have got T.I. or Killer Mike. They could have got Jeezy. They could have got CeeLo. They could have got Dre. They could have got Big Boy. They got so many people in Atlanta that they could have threw in there, but they put Fat Joe ass of all damn people. Fat Joe.
Yeah.
Mr. I ain't really made no real goddamn music until I found porn. Joe. Man, get his ass out of here. That sucker ass dude. He was garbage in Empire, that movie him and Leguizamo did. I remember that movie. I was like, that's a cool little movie. Then I thought about it. That's a fake ass Scarface movie. Get them bitch ass dudes out of here. You know what I'm saying? But I'm done, Juan. I gotta go get in the shower, man. Y'all be good. Have a good night, man. I appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir, Racer Bo. I said, what's up, Racer Bo? Yeah, Rose City. What's up, Racer Bo down there listening? I see you down there. Juicy Genius. We sat in the room. We talking about DJ Akademiks, disrespecting hip hop pioneers, and we putting these tethers in check. If you have not heard it all, I will be uploading this to my YouTube channel. So this will be up on my YouTube channel. If you want to go back and listen to any part of it, we putting tethers in check. I'm not gonna be here all night, so we're gonna start making the comments a little more brief. Because I said I found out there's some shindigging going on up at the Comedy Store, so I gotta head up there in a little bit. So go ahead and get started. Eve, you pass the mic, but keep your comments fairly brief because I'm not gonna be on here too much longer.
Well, you talked him up. Racer Bo is in the building. Peace.
Peace.
Is it on me, family? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Peace to the family. Peace to the family. Shouts out to y'all. I mean, I'm really not gonna get on too much about Akademiks because he's a whole tether. Everybody knows how he basically got his little fortune instigating beefs, particularly amongst the drill scene with our young brothers out there in Chicago, instigating a whole lot of shit. Akademiks is just that type of guy. Like, or if this was the street, and this is for my street dudes and or dudes who came up, little rough or in rough areas. Like, he's the type of guy that he'll sit back and while two dudes getting on, he's doing all of the ooh and an I. And then where I come from in the OGs I was raised by, when brothers in the hood is getting it on, you better shut the hell up. There better not be no ooh, no ah, ohs, nothing. On top of that, there wouldn't even be no women allowed to watch the fight because brothers wouldn't want no gossiping going on. So the first dude to say ooh, ah, oh, or the first dude to gossip, get your ass in the ring. You'll never catch Akademiks in the ring with nobody. He doesn't. He's just an instigator. He ain't nothing but the tether version of Vlad. So I need our brothers and sisters to understand that about him. And the disrespectful thing he said, but Brother Tariq actually broke that down yesterday. You have a whole bunch of these reggae artists from the 90s and 80s where they're not necessarily sitting on a fortune, or they're not necessarily they're basically having a meager lifestyle, and you'll never catch him throwing them under the bus. But that's the personality of a tether. But real quick, I wanted to just give you this heat about Fat Joe. Now, real quick, anybody that's known me and been listening to these spaces, I'm from the Bronx, New York. Now, my Uncle Jerry and my mother lived with my Uncle Jerry for about a good year when I was a very young child, on 163rd Street and Trinity Avenue. Anybody's from the Bronx is listening. That's actually right across the street from Fat Joe's building where he grew up, 560 Trinity Avenue. 665 163rd Street. Pardon me, that was the address. But the building is right across the street. They on the same block. My uncle, he actually ran around in that neighborhood along with Fat Joe's older brother Angel. Now, before I get into all of this, I need people to understand the dynamic and the personality of a Puerto Rican, particularly from New York. Now, you have, and I'm gonna give you examples of all three personalities that I'm gonna speak of. You have a Puerto Rican where they would identify with their blackness wholeheartedly. And then you have the Puerto Rican that would play three-card Monte with their identity and their ethnicity, such as a Sonny Holston. The first Puerto Rican I speak of that will identify with their blackness wholeheartedly, especially if they have the phenotype, would be Alpo, and I'll get into that in a second. And then you have the cold-hearted, want to be white accepted, white supremacist thinking Puerto Rican. Now now that's regardless of phenotype. I'm strictly talking about personalities, though. The reason why I brought up Alpo, and I'm using him as an example of a Puerto Rican that wholeheartedly accept their blackness, is because if you even look at his career, despite of his snaky ways that we all know about through the stories we heard, and it's still allegedly because we wasn't there, right? A lot of dudes a lot of my OGs, rest in peace, my OG Mingo. He was from the East Side, heavy hit on the East Side. That's where Outpost from, East River Projects. And that's the Spanish Harlem, by the way. Anybody know Harlem is divided by East and West? And I'm just trying to give you the geographic of the place. And everything from Lexington will actually be Fifth Avenue East. That would be considered the East Side. Everything Fifth Avenue East, and everything Fifth Avenue West would be considered the West Side. The East Side would be considered Spanish Harlem, but you still had a heavy black population over there. Everything Fifth Avenue West would be considered Black Harlem. You got 7th Avenue, 8th Avenue, et cetera, et cetera. if you even look at Outpost's career and his criminal career, he never ran with Puerto Ricans, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because East River was predominantly, the project he grew up in was predominantly black, and then through his upbringing on the street, once again, and this entails the racist atmosphere of the city at the time. Because anybody know about Outpost, where he got in the game in the late 70s. Puerto Ricans and blacks did not get along wholeheartedly. That was strictly, and it is still to this day, on a case-by-case basis. And keep in mind the three personalities that I told you about. So now with him, he if you notice, a lot of people showed him love, and it wasn't necessarily because he wasn't a snake, but when Alpo was on the come up in the streets on the east side, and this is what happened sporadically throughout the Bronx and uptown in Harlem. Puerto Ricans in certain neighborhoods, they would try to take over, particularly Black Brothers area, block, and this was going on a lot in Washington Heights, even with the Dominicans, et cetera, et cetera. Alpo sided with the brothers and fought to get those Puerto Ricans up out of East River projects. Anybody's from Harlem, they know exactly what the hell I'm talking about. So he always identified with being black through and through, even though he knew he was a Puerto Rican descent, and he spoke Spanish. Keep that in mind. He spoke Spanish fluently, so it wasn't like he was detached from his Latino culture, but he understood the dynamics of the city. And then even then, he also migrated to the west side. That's how he hooked up with Ray AZ, Rich Porter, the OG Gangsta Lou and them. They was all on the west side. That's Black Harlem. So he always adapted to that. So you have Puerto Ricans that have that mindset. That's all I just want to get you to understand. Now, when you speak of Fat Joe,
Man, that nigga was a fucking snake, man.
it's not about being a snake, brother. See how you trying to interrupt just to say that shit? Didn't I go through all of that already? Excuse me.
Let him cook.
Now, getting to Fat, the reason, and I'm just saying that to say this, getting into Fat Joe, his older brother Angel, and him and my uncle was real tight back in the day. He had that mindset. So, and he was also an outcast as far as his family's concerned. Fat Joe's parents are extremely racist. They did not like black people. They did not deal with black people like that. It was strictly on a high and by basis. I mean, that's it. So anyway, Fat Joe, any little kid wants to be like his older brother. That's just natural. So that's how Fat Joe actually adopted that identity to be in hip hop, but that he doesn't have the personality his older brother has. You get what I'm saying? Because he was still brought up under his parents. His brother Angel didn't have that same experience. So Fat Joe actually falls into the personality and the category of Sonny Holston. He'll play 3-card money with his identity. I'm black one minute, I'm a person of color the next minute, I'm Latino today, I'm a nigga tomorrow, and all those games. He falls under that category. So so I just want to understand with the brothers and sisters the type of personality of the guy that you're dealing with when it comes to Fat Joe. And I'll land on that.
He looked like the kind of motherfucker that got racist parents. Who was next?
It's not Silva. It's on Ben.
Yeah. How's it going, everybody? I'll be short. I was just gonna say, man, far as we shouldn't be surprised at the disrespect we get from these tethers, man, because you got to put yourself in their shoes. They come from countries, man, that are failed states, man. You know, you look at Akademiks. He's from Haiti, descended from Haitians, right? Now these people have fought for the independence. Most of these countries are sovereign nations, majority black, own government and everything, something that we would wish to have. But the only way that they can get a win is that they got to come under us. We got the golden touch. So it's like you being a hip hop artist, but the only way you can get a hit record is if I'm featured on the motherfucker. So they wake up every morning and they know that they losers, man. So they got to attack us just to help with their self-esteem. You know, they just need to take that L and hold it and try to do better, man. But that's all they can do is hate. So I take it as a form of flattery.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it because you know, we've been so blinded. We've allowed them to set the narrative. We've been so blinded. You know how it is when you was like in the second grade and there was that girl you liked, and you would kind of tease her and make it seem like she the one that's the problem when really it was you that had a crush on her. That's how these cats are when it comes to us. They want to, they tell us, oh, you have no culture. We have this grand culture. Being black is a scab and all this nonsense. When really that's how they feel about themselves, and they don't want to address it, so they got to put it up on us. And I don't want to. It just shows me really what colonization has done. Here in slavery, we had slavery, and then we had Jim Crow. But that Jim Crow time, that time amongst ourselves, us having our white cousins on the other side of the train track was a totally different effect than them being in on their own. And yes, I said white cousins because if you go back and look at your family tree, when you get back in the 18 or 1900s, at some point there was always some white dude involved that had a white family and a black family. So when it comes to those of us who've been here for hundreds of years, you've seen it. You've seen the white side of great 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 granddaddy's family keep the wealth, and we didn't. So that's made us be very clear in our mind that we're something different and that we ain't the same. But it also has shown us that we also create things worth that are, even though if we didn't personally get monetary gains from it, we've got to see that the things that we created have gone in to produce great big things, and those are wins that other groups don't have. And so they come around to us and they see us winning over and over and over again. They got to say what the hell they got to say to feel good about themselves. At the end of the day, they don't feel good about them damn selves. But yeah, I don't know who was next.
Well, now it's on Sova. Or maybe they fell asleep. I don't know. He didn't even talk long. Little Sova 4, are you there?
Going once.
Man, I wasn't being rude. You just interrupted, homeboy, and I didn't think that was nice.
Yeah, go on to the next one.
All right, the average black guy. I mean, the average black American.
Either one, both work. Much appreciated. I just want to speak on what was said before as well. Love the space, love the build. We're in the middle of basically this is like a military exercise in a sense, but they're setting these people up against us, and we have to understand what's coming down the pipe. They think that they're so ingenious that they're going to make us look like we are the ones being divisive, like we're the ones who are trying to discriminate. When we say, when some of us are against immigration, when some of us want to gatekeep our culture, they think that they're ingenious by putting in all kind of people that are outsiders to our culture and speaking against that, because that's their plan. That's their next step. Once we start doing what, dang, I'm sorry, that's my 1-year-old. But yeah, once we start calling out those who are infiltrating us, what's going to happen next is they're going to call us, I'm sorry, I'm about to get back because she's killing me. She is killing me. She's a comedian like her daddy. So, but yeah, once they start calling out, or we start calling out their infiltration, they're going to make us the racist or whatever you want to call it, because this is what they want. This is their plan, and it's to us to be replaced. When you look at the homeless, you're from Los Angeles, Dewan B. So look at the homeless, it's largely us. They're literally putting people on top of us and financing these people. And you brought up how terrible the music is becoming. So the music is being made by people who aren't us, and it don't have the same flavor. I mean, and I know it's some New Yorkers up in here, but when you look at why New York fell off from hip hop, it's a lot of the immigrants. When they started making music, it lost its heart and flavor. All of the immigrant MCs you start seeing coming into New York hip hop, it kind of reads like why New York hip hop fell off. And the South ain't never probably gonna relinquish their control because it's largely Black Americans and they support each other. You know, they go on tour together and they don't really beef with each other the way that cats in other parts, even, you know, where I'm from in the West, beef with each other. So we definitely have to see what's coming down. We got to be a step ahead. The next step is they're going to call us divisive. They're going to say things like hate group. They're going to say that we're being discriminatory. And we have to head them off at the pass and call out what they're doing, which is they are intentionally putting people within us, upon us, while also ignoring us so that they can call us discriminatory people. Because that's how inclusion works for the white man. He'll start bringing in everybody who looks like you, who does his work, so he then can point the finger that points at him at you. That's what it is. And Rose City, I love our elders. Rose City got up in here and he proved why you don't roast your elders, because when they dig in, they ain't roasted in here. When they dig in, they will flame your ass with a lot of truth. That brother was cooking. He was like, these goddamn dirty foot Jamaicans and shit, and fluffy ass Fat Joe, and all that brother started going like Mudbone's grandson. So much appreciated to the space, and everybody got up here cooking. Let's get a hashtag together of all the infiltrators and put that out. I land.
Yeah. And your hashtag good fathers in Twitter spaces. That's what we about to hashtag. Active fathers in Twitter spaces is what we about to hashtag. God damn. This motherfuckers in Twitter spaces, feeding the baby. I'm probably cooking flapjacks for dinner, nigga, breakfast.
Quesadillas, bro. Quesadillas.
Okay. I knew you were flipping something, goddamn it. You flipping burrito shells instead of fat black. But I just can tell, you know, hashtag good black fathers. Shit. Yeah. That baby back there gonna grow up to be a rocket scientist. You know? So but you're right about that. At the end of the day, you know, and this is what we're trying to tell them folks. Look, they've been having all these corny jokes on us. You a caught of this. Oh, look at them black people. They have no culture. They've been saying the same thing over and over. And they don't understand this. Black Americans, and this is something I don't think black people understand, is in my black music family tree. If you look in the stock of my family tree, I have stand-up comedy. Why? The genre of stand-up comedy as we know today comes out of the juke joints of the South. The same juke joints that produce the blues, the same juke joints that produce country western, jazz, also produce stand-up comedy. Because when you're entertaining a room full of cotton pickers, you can't just come up and play a guitar and halfway sing. No, you got to sing, you got to dance, you got to make them laugh, you got to do it all. We don't even understand. When Ella Fitzgerald when she went to perform at the Apollo, Ella Fitzgerald went to perform as a dancer. But she said the dancers that went before her were so great, she was intimidated. So she sang instead. Singing was Ella Fitzgerald's second option. That's who we are. Ella Fitzgerald went on to have one of the greatest careers in music history. I was at the Hollywood Bowl last night, and they put up a stat I didn't even know. They said Ella Fitzgerald sold out the Hollywood Bowl, 17,500 seats in 7 straight decades. For 7 straight decades, Ella Fitzgerald, when she performed at the Hollywood Bowl for 7 decades in a row, her shows sold out. And that was her second option. That's who we are. And we the people, Pygmy Markham, the same person that everyone is saying that's just really starting to understand that Pygmy Markham was one of the first rappers. His first thing was stand-up comedy. He and Moms Mabley used to have a thing with stand-up. It would be shows with Muddy Waters, Moms Mabley, Pygmy Markham, and Moms Mabley would sing and do stand-up comedy. Like, all of this is ours. So they didn't know all these little whack-ass, corny-ass, weird-ass, punk-ass jokes they was doing. They was feeding right in our hands because, yeah, we have stand-up comedy, but the funniest person everybody in here know is either your auntie, that drunk nigga, that drunk old black man that wear a Kango down the street, your grandmama. We will slice and dice your ass, and these cats are just now figuring it out. If they thought African booty scratching was something bad, who next? It was on Brother Heat.
It's on Heat, yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to piggyback on what I said earlier about about us being infiltrated, but it's not that we've been willingly doing it because we got some of these artists that go along and get along, and we need to be pressed on their neck too, because as we see, I think Ray Shrimmer is the only person that I've seen even put up a post to deliver water to Mississippi. We got all these successful artists, and nobody posted or said nothing about Mississippi. So we got to apply pressure to them too as well. And that's one of the main things that they don't even go at academics for, because they're afraid and they want to get on those platforms. They want to be able to protect and invest their money. That's the go along, get along gang in that industry. So, I feel like I don't know what we would have to do to apply more pressure, but it's something that we got to do because, as I said, this is a psyop or a coup, how they trying to remove us out of hip hop. As you can see, they've done that periodically with every other genre of music that we had. And we got to just stand up and tell them, nah, man, you ain't taking nothing else. It's time to give us our toys back at the playground. We glad you had fun. We shared with you, but it's time to go home and we taking our toys back. You feel me? It's enough of that BS that they got going on. No more disrespect should be tolerated with our lineage.
Real talk right there. That's I like that. Taking our toys and going back. What's up, Black Alpha Network down there listening? Who's next?
Well, at this point, I guess Fraser Bo's the only person who has his hand up.
Yeah, thanks y'all for letting me speak again. I hope y'all can hear me. But yeah, just for another clarity about the city, a lot of people have the misconception about the city being a melting pot. That is a big myth. That's always been a lie. This city is not a melting pot where every single neighborhood that you go into, you have just a mixture of culture and ethnicities. That is not the way the city is geographically designed, and it has never been like that. You have neighborhoods that are all black. Like the way the makeup of the city, neighborhoods for the most part are racially divided. So you'll have the white area, the Latino area, and you'll have a black area, and then you do have some parts of the city that are metropolitan when everybody's like jumbled on top of each other, depending on what part of the city you're in. And mainly those parts are like for the most part is like Manhattan and the boroughs that like within the boroughs that closest to Manhattan. Those are usually the most metropolitan areas, but when you really go into the bowels of the city, it is not like that. So I just wanted to really dispel that myth for people who come up here. I could take you to areas where you will not see no Hispanics, no whites, no Arabs, no nothing. You will see nothing but black people. I can take you to areas you will see nothing but white people. You will not see no other ethnicity. So that's just a big lie about the city. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, good for that, because like it was Spike Lee. Remember, Spike Lee, somebody we gotta watch, because he was the one saying a few years ago talking about some. Yeah, it was Latinos, it was Puerto Ricans, it was like Spike Lee. If you don't get we all need to come together ass on out of here.
No, but just to be clear, I'm sorry to cut you off, but Brother Dewan Reed, Spike Lee is from Fort Greene. See, once again, like I said, he's from Fort Greene, which would be considered to a degree downtown Brooklyn. Downtown Brooklyn is very close to Manhattan. So he's from one of those metropolitan areas of the city that I'm talking about. But if you go deeper into Brooklyn, especially the time he grew up, into Crown Heights, into Bed-Stuy, or certain parts of Bushwick, those areas were all black. And the majority of the black people in those areas, especially the time that he grew up as a child and as a teenager and as a young man, it was foundational Black America.
Okay, yeah, we need that clarification, because they're gonna try to say that, because I say that about L.A. and because when it comes to West Coast hip hop, we very segregated over here. But I've been hearing some things come out from some of these Chicano rappers talking about some, and I even saw a little bit of certain kind of funny style stuff in that Cypress Hill documentary. It was a great documentary. But it was certain things about like coming together. I'm like, no, black people and Mexicans really don't kick it. We're very segregated. And you may have a Latino here and there. We do kick. We have friends on individual, like you said, like some earlier talked about Puerto Ricans. We're here Latinos and blacks. It's the same thing. It's a case by case situation. Overall, it ain't no melting pot like that. But I know. Was there anyone else that had anything to say?
Well, I have one more thing to say. I saw DJ Akademiks' response to LL Cool J earlier today. And what struck me was he said that he had no respect for the founders of hip hop because they didn't pass down game on how to make money. Now, I never had respect for him, but after today, I realized how ignorant he was. And I have absolutely, with no question, no respect for DJ Academics. After today, I'm done. I mean, I never liked him, but today he put the nail. The nail was hammered in the coffin today. I'm done. And that's all I've got to say. I have no respect for him. His mouth runs like a broken toilet. Just run, run, run. There he goes, running his mouth again. He's a know-it-all who knows nothing at all. And that's what I think of him. I'm done. So thank you so much, Dwan.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you for that part right there, 'cause I didn't know he said that last part
He
about
said he had no respect.
See, and that's the thing again, him not knowing shit. Because how can they pass down game to something that they weren't able to accomplish themselves? They weren't in rap for money. They were in it for the artwork. They went and got jobs. These cats when they started working at they would rap and go work at UPS.
They
would go.
didn't know the business.
There
They
was
didn't understand the business. They were trying to make some money. They
and at the
didn't
time
understand the business.
there
And the Jews gentrified it.
you're talking about the 70s and the early 80s, there was no business really to be had because, we can say what we want. Motown wasn't extending contracts to rappers. Philadelphia International wasn't extending contracts to rappers. That even the whole industry of extending contracts to rappers was started by Sylvia Robinson. She made, I love it. Please, I encourage you to go listen to Sylvia Robinson. She got some of the smoothest songs ever. But Sylvia, if she didn't invest her money, it wouldn't be no industry. Uptown Records, it was us that had to even create the industry for it to happen. And before, and during the early 80s and the late 70s, that whole thing wasn't even a thing. We didn't have anything to cultivate that young talent into even doing that. But that would require academics to give one half of a fuck about anything related to history, and he doesn't. He don't care about history. He doesn't care about what happened before him. He just wants to eat off what's in front of him and look like the character Alf. That's the
He's
problem. We got Alf.
he's
It's called
spoiled.
DJ Alf.
He's spoiled. He has a sense of entitlement. He's gotten it real easy because that fruit was on the freaking ground. And now he's walking around running his mouth, potty mouth. I'm sick of him. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done with him.
I just love that this is Miss Elisa's first time speaking, and she's just so very uncompromising in
I'm
everything that she's
shaking,
talking about.
but I'm
She's
shaking.
great.
I'm shaking. I'm shaking. Really.
Miss Elisa, we've
Are you-
got these men in this room. Dewan said it earlier, and I don't know if you were in the room earlier, but he said that it's their job to speak up. And then Ruben said earlier that it's really the young men's job to speak up. And I'm 1,000% in agreement with that. It's not necessarily our job to do anything more than support what they're saying, and when they're ready to go, support their actions. So
And I
you
want
can
to
be
clear-
shaking. It's okay. Tell them to
All right.
go.
and
All
I'm
right.
clear- I'm cool. Like I'm 100% down because I love when black women speak up. All I'm saying is black men spend so much time talking about their our top five, and fight each other. You'll knock somebody's eye out if Jay-Z's not in their top five. So since we spend as a culture so much that you're not gonna have too many women have that kind of argument. Women talk about other things. I'm saying since men spend so much of our free time talking about this already, it really is our job to really defend this the same way black men defend Michael Jordan being the greatest of all time. That's all I'm saying. Black men spend 28, it's only 24 hours in a day, and we spend 27 of these hoes talking about LeBron James. So since we can spend so much time talking about these athletes and why, oh man, my Raiders lost again last night. Well, your Raiders been doing dumb shit and losing since Bo Jackson been around. You should be used to it. You
Yeah.
get over it. So, but since the men spend so much time talking about this dumb non-bullshit, we got to be the vanguard of the ones that's defending the culture. At least if you're gonna spend time talking about the music, defend it. And if the women want to jump in, that's fine. But I'm really putting it on the fellas because we waste so much time talking about these damn athletes and rappers.
Oh God, I'm sick.
But to
I'm
Rufus'
sick.
point though, if the young men are saying that they're hard body and they go hard in the paint and all this stuff, then really it would be their job to protect the culture. I mean, if you're in the streets, I'm not from the streets, so anybody can correct me at this point, but if you're from the streets or whatever and you running with your boys and people are I guess a threat to your neighborhood, I don't know that you would send the OGs out to handle that. I don't know. I feel like
The
there's a
only,
certain
the only reservation I have about, because it really should be, and theoretically, it should be the young people defending things. But the ones who are out there doing that, if they have any sense of culture, those generally aren't the ones out there running around doing that nonsense. They're doing more constructive things. So, we got to start like now. We've done a horrible job of passing things down to our youth. We're just really, really getting into that in the last 10 years, really since 2012. Black people really turned direction in how we operate within our family unit. So this is a newer thing. So in this current time, those of us who have it, we're gonna have to be the vanguard. If you have the information and the knowledge, you got to be the person speaking up because so many of us don't have it. Now, as we that have the knowledge and information continue to speak and continue to speak, it's gonna trickle down to the young people. And at some point, the young people are going to catch the language. They're going to catch on the vibration, and they'll be able to take over. But right now, this is being honest, the young people don't have the language to even speak it because they haven't been passed down the information that's going to give them the language to speak it. So in the meantime, those of us who have it got to be the ones, and we got to keep passing it to the youth. And at some point, the youth will catch on. But that just, unfortunately, that's not where we are September 2022. Hopefully, we'll be there in 2025. But right now, we aren't.
Hey, Dwan,
Yes.
did you guys discuss canceling like the shade room boss up? I'm really tired, so if you have forgive me, but anyway, shade room boss up, media takeout. I can't think of all those names, but we got to shut it all down. I don't feel like talking, but if you want to bring it up,
Yeah. Overall, that's really why I created Incense and Ashtrays because at some point, I just haven't had the time in it right now. But I really created that website and my whole Incense and Ashtrays project to take these people out because they're no good to us. And we're coming through to a different time where now people are requesting more than that. And I feel like I don't even bring them much as much anymore because they're we really have to delegitimize them, and part of delegitimizing them is not taking anything they say seriously. But if they bring some bullshit, like of course, like with academics, we'll defend the point. Like even this discussion, we're talking about this academics. We want to cancel academics, but really, it's really about diving deep into what he talked about, so we can bring truth to what's going on. Because once black people, man, this one thing I know about black people, man, we smart as hell. The minute we get a tidbit of information, we know what to do with it. It's the reason why they go so hard to not give us anything. So like for me, like my angle is more so like these discussions is to really put the language out there and then put the thought in people's minds. Because all it takes is a thought. Once people get a thought, they take over from there. And from there, once you take over, y'all gonna talk to y'all kids about this. Y'all gonna talk to y'all nieces, y'all nephews. Y'all gonna spread it like the grapevine because that's what we do. And so I think just really us being able to more like because I heard people saying we need a list, and I agree with the list because people need to be addressed on whatever level they are. But more so than the list, we need to be able to identify these patterns because these people aren't that creative. When you're dealing with a Vlad, it's the same bad pattern as the academics. It's the same pattern as Maury Povich. It's the same pattern. Yeah, yes, I said Maury Povich. It's the same pattern as all these people at as the No Jumper podcast. It's the same pattern that they kind of all do the same thing. So I think we have to be able to just identify these patterns. So because at some point, once these white supremacists realize academics is not effective, or whoever ever is not effective, they'll pull them out and put somebody else in. So we have to recognize when they pulled Oprah off the scene and put in Gayle King. We got to understand that, okay, yeah, these two different people, but they're doing the same thing. And I think the more we have these conversations, the more we'll be able to recognize these patterns. So when the next academics come along, because you know he is, we'll be able to see it right away. Go ahead, Racer Bo.
It was actually on Brother Hunter Biden's crack pipe.
I don't even see him, bro. Okay, I see. Okay, I see now. Yeah. Go ahead, brother.
Hey, peace. Thank you, bro. Now, I just wanted to say, when you want to wrap things up, like our power as a people, it does, lie in our ability to reward those who work in our interest and to punish those who work against us. That's why I put the hashtag in the Jumbotron. Like, y'all know what to do, family. If you about that life, if you want to cancel DJ Academics, then do it. Let's do it. I'll keep retweeting that shit. Just cancel DJ Academics. And like the brother said, we got to recognize the pattern and to be able to check that shit early. You know what I'm saying? Because DJ Academics been off cold. Vlad been off cold. We talking about making a list. It's a lot of fucking hashtags we got to do. But damn it, we can start with him and let them, for real though, like it's a lot of people we got to hit, but damn it, let's start somewhere. And he might as well be it. Shit, ain't no better start. And then move our way on. But if you want to punish them, punish them. I'm all for punishment. Let's keep that hashtag going.
That's real talk. You know what I mean? You gotta do that, and we do have that power. That's what I'm saying. As long as we keep it up, the young people gonna trickle down. It's gonna trickle down to the young people. It will. And once they get it, once that generation between the age of 14 and 26 gets it, oh, it's over. They don't get it now because we haven't had the pattern. But we've been in this pattern now for about 5 to 10 years. We keep this pattern up for another 10 years or so, 10 years or less, that 14 to 24 demographic is gonna get it. And once they get it, it's done. But go ahead, Racer Bo.
Yeah, brother Dewan B. I mean, I agree with you 100% about patterns in particular. And that actually is a perfect segue into my point I'm about to make about DJ Academics, and this actually applies to DJ Vlad as well. They both call. First of all, they both non-FBA. They both come from immigrant backgrounds. I think both of them are first generation. Mix is first generation at all. Um, they both call themselves DJ, and like once again, I'm from New York, and this is how you get. This is one thing. This is how you actually help gatekeep the culture to a degree. When someone calls themselves a DJ, this is why Scam Master Jay, once I heard him speak, his lie never held up with me because he was talking about he was on the hip hop scene up here in New York. I never seen a flyer, never seen a party, nothing at all with that dude's
And
name on it.
old cut haircut,
Yeah, brother.
he was lying his ass off. Don't nobody coming out the locker room, and I was walking past Kevin Garnett, Stephen A. Smith, and Stephen A. Smith was like, "Hey, yo, man, what's up, KG?" And KG looked at Stephen A. Smith and was like, "Man, fuck you," and walked off. And he was like, "I don't fuck with you." And then I turned on First Take the next morning. Stephen A. Smith was like, "Yo, man, I was at Staples Center last night and I was talking to KG." I was like, "Man, this whole fake ass nigga right here." But he is the same thing as Academics. Jason Whitlock, he's the same thing as DJ Vlad. They the same thing. They do the same shit. They come around either on sports or music. They're gonna talk straight narrow 70% of the time. But whenever something goes wrong, they're going to talk hyperly bad about the Black American. And whenever the white person does something, or the person from their culture, whether you talk about Nick Wright, Skip Bayless, them motherfuckers is no different than Adam 22 and DJ fucking Vlad. It's the same thing over and over and over again. If you recognize the pattern, you'll be able to see this shit pop up in all these areas of activity. But I see Latinos are new KKK. Your hand is up. Go ahead.
Yo, is my mic clear?
Yes, sir.
All right. I got this question, and it's for Racer Bo because he's from out of New York, and he's a representative from New York, and he pretty much know the history. All right, Racer, let me ask you a question. With the history, talk about New York, right? And the little spat, well, with the down south rappers, right, at the time, a lot of them kind of felt disrespected, right? The whole little situation with what Pimp C was talking about. He was saying that a lot of people from the East Coast felt like they weren't doing hip hop. So Pimp said, "Fuck it, we ain't hip hop. We doing our own shit down here." In your opinion, because right now we kind of see that the game is being held by the people from down south. Do you think it's kind of like a disconnect with that? So what I'm trying to say is like, because a lot of people are saying that, some people should start speaking out. Do you think people are not speaking out because they don't feel the connection with New York or those pioneers from New York? Because as of right now, if you take like the people that are down south, their pioneers are like DJ Screw, Jay Prince, and all those things, right? Because I guarantee you this, if DJ Akademiks said anything about DJ Screw, that motherfucker will be banned from down south. I can promise you that he will be banned. So my question to you is, do you think that played a role into why some of these younger guys that's down south right now are not speaking up against DJ Akademiks? Because I know a lot of people down south kind of follow that dude. I'll land my plane.
Right. I agree with you to a degree. That definitely plays an aspect. And here's the problem, because I'm gonna use myself as an example. The disconnect comes in to where there's no. I believe there's not necessarily direct personal attachment to hip hop when it comes to other regions of the world and of the United States. And I'm gonna explain what I mean. I'm a third generation B-boy. I was born in 85. I'm 37. Every single party, every single cookout, every single event that I ever went to in my whole entire life, that from when I was a child to when I was a grown man, had a DJ. Not a band, not a drum and guitar set, two turntables and an MC. My mother and my uncles are first generation B-boys. My mother was born in 63. She's 4 years, I believe, younger than her. So she was, and my uncle was born in 60. So they were attending all of these B-boy parties and the first hip hop parties. Not to mention my grandparents, the parties they were hosts. and they would invite the young kids to tell them to get off the street. They were hosting some of these parties. So when you talk about hip hop and then you try to sit there and distort it and tell lies about it, I take that personally. I take that very personally. And when you disrespect the pioneers and knowing the people that put the sacrifices, known or unknown, I'm gonna take that personally because the people you disrespecting is my mother. You disrespecting my uncle. You disrespecting my grandparents. So that's how deep, especially if you're a foundational Black American that grew up in the city, that's how deep the connection is for us to hip hop. So when it comes to everybody outside, and then keep in mind, I'm from the Bronx, and then my whole family is from the Bronx. They were all raised in the Bronx. They wasn't all raised in the Bronx, but everybody was born in the Bronx except for my grandmother and for my grandparents. So that connection is so deep and ingrained in us, and I don't think everybody else has that connection. Even if you're from Jersey, even if you're from Connecticut, even if you're from the tri-state, or even if you could even be from other parts of the city, but if you're from the Bronx, it's a different connection, because more than likely, if your family's from the Bronx and you were born, and if you're a certain age, they're connected to pioneering hip hop. And I agree with you. I think that is the disconnect to why brothers are not necessarily speaking up, because, or that plays a part in it, because they don't have that direct connection. So you gotta understand, everybody else outside, or let's just say New York, just give New York City the credit. Everybody outside of New York City kind of just picked it up. Whereas as New York City did lay the foundation down for it. So the stigma, and just to talk about the stigma with Pimp C and his comments real quick before I land. When you come up here and you understand the culture of New York, especially being that we founded hip hop, we feel that not other places don't get their respect, or other places wasn't doing hip hop, because I know that was a stigma at the time where if it didn't come from New York, people felt like it wasn't hip hop. It wasn't necessarily that, but we felt that you had to come to the Mecca and prove yourself in the Mecca, make a pilgrimage for us to give it that stamp of approval. And then it the same with basketball. We're not going to consider you a street hooper up here until you bring your ass to the Rucker or Kingdom or Dykeman, and then you sit there and you show your skills on the court out here. That's why I had the utmost respect for Kobe, Baron Davis, Kevin Garnett. I watched all of these guys play in the Rucker before they were anybody. LeBron as well. I watched all of these guys play. So we have that same mentality when it comes to hip hop. You want to prove yourself as a true DJ, as a true b-boy, as a true graffiti artist, as a true MC. You bring your ass here and you prove it to us, and you hold court here. And then if you hold your court amongst the foundation, then we'll give it our stamp of approval. So I'll land on that.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up, because I always said this, and this isn't the power of New York, but I always said hip hop's original sin was sectioning it off to a city. And because what that did was, while on one end it made sure the credit belonged to one place, on the other end it isolated it when it comes to attack. And hip hop's continued sin is making everything so regional. I was on a show earlier and they were talking about certain rappers and where they're from. And I know me, I've never listened to hip hop as a regional thing. It's always been like, either you make good music or you're not, or you don't. Where you're from has always been secondary for me personally. But, and a lot of people who think hip hop first, is always first checked by a region. And that was a very selfish move, and we see the consequences of it right now. Here's the reason why I say that. We all know jazz in its current form started in New Orleans. But New Orleans never made it about New Orleans. New Orleans was always openly sharing the jazz. So when Kansas City came with its bebop, wrinkle, and jazz, it was all good. When when New York got its wrinkle in jazz with the swing era, it was all good. It was like, okay, no, yes, it was created here in New Orleans, but this is Black culture. When it comes to funk, Funk started in South Carolina, James Brown, Oakland, side of Family Stone, and then blew up and got very popular through Ohio.